Sisters are now sponsored by Aria Comics, located at 313 Halsted Avenue, Harrison, New York. Aria Comics celebrates and promotes everything that is wonderful about comics, toys, artwork, and the joy they bring to people.
Positive and upbeat, they invite you to come in and experience their selection and atmosphere.
Looking for something new and different to read? Their staff is always willing to help you find a book that will put a spring in your step and get you hooked on something new.
If you have children and have been looking for a family-friendly store, look no further.
With awesome events like creator signings and Facebook Live sales, where you can find everything from mainstream comics to collectibles to hard-to-find editions, make All Yeah Comics your comics destination.
Their customers are the most important part of the business, and they want to hear from you as well. So give them a call at 914-732-3600. That's 914-732-3600.
Yeah, comics. Let's be awesome together.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Sisters podcast, where we give you our point of view. We are proud members of the Trek Geeks podcast network, and we are so excited to bring you this show today. I'm Tamia Harper. I'm joined by my sisters, Yvette Blackman-Tom.
Hello.
Sabrina Wood.
Whoop, whoop.
Fran T.
What's up?
And JD Keeling.
Buenos dias.
So today, good listeners, we are super cheesing and super fangirling, probably like you've never seen us or heard us do before, I should say, because we're talking to a real live icon in the house. So Sci-Fi Sisters fangirl. Woo! So okay, like I'm trying to keep it all reserved, but I'm really this stoked. Okay, all right. She's a dancer and an actor and a choreographer who has graced Broadway stages and big and small screens alike. And if you've ever watched television, you know her face and her amazing voice. She's been on everything from Ryan's Hope to Remington Steele, from Knight Rider to Night Court, baby. She graced the space of Battlestar Galactica's 4th season and lent her voice on episodes of Family Guy. But the sisters and our mothership crew came to adore and respect her for her nuanced and honest portrayal of Kira Nerys on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. My brothers, my sisters, we bring you the one and only Nana Visitor. Welcome to the podcast, Mama.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be here. Absolutely thrilled.
We are so stoked you're here. I mean, this is a true godsend, a true boon, a true gift. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show.
It's truly my pleasure.
I gotta say, I'm gonna open us up because when Deep Space Nine was on, DC, I live in Washington, DC, and DC was still known as Chocolate City at the time. So Deep Space Nine was our show. Like, it did not suffer the perils like it did in other markets of like showing up sometimes or missing episodes. No, we made sure that DC was on Paramount 20 on UPN. Every night we were there waiting to see what happened. And Kira was our girl. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have never seen a white woman get so much love from folks in DC and Chocolate City before. Truth. Why? Because we could so relate to her.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
And that's the point of storytelling, isn't it? We are all human. We are all dealing with the same things. We all feel in different amounts and in different ways. The same it comes down to the same things. Mm-hmm. We need connection. We need acceptance. We need to be seen. And so much of it was interesting. I experienced this. I went on they had some kind of makeup test for me. So I got the little snail put on my nose, and they did it so well that if you saw me in person, you really didn't understand that it was makeup. So I had time. I don't know what I was scheduled to do next, but I had to stay in makeup. And I went for a walk on the lot of Paramount. And I just walked around where people weren't, I guess, aware of Star Trek. but I got so many double takes. I got so many strange looks, not mean looks, but I suddenly felt like, what are you looking at? And I got this feeling of, hey, stop looking at me like that. And it went up there's Kira. There she is. That's how she feels. Paramount Lot became Cardassia, and I was Bajoran, and this is not okay. I don't feel okay.
Whoa.
Sometimes how we feel every day.
Exactly.
I hear you. It was an interesting exercise for me, and it was hugely needed for my understanding of the role.
I think it worked because it definitely we felt like I felt when Deep Space Nine came on, I had just joined the military, so my Deep Space Nine went through my whole military career. So I know a lot of veterans say that it inspired them, but it validated my experience basically. And Kira was such a badass, and not to the point where she was trying to be a badass. It was just what happened. Her experience made her have to be this. And not to say I was a badass, but I was definitely with a lot of men, and I had to be a certain way. And, sometimes that makes you not feel feminine, not feel, kind of gloss over. But when I watch Kira, I'm like, yep, that's what we do. That's what we are.
Interesting?
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting that as women, we really, we get dropped into the way things are. And I think men don't realize it either. We're dropped into this way of being that we cut off. It's like this part is acceptable for you to be right in the middle between my hand, and to the left and to the right, you just have to cut that off. And that was what I was determined not to do with Kira. And I could do it because I wasn't human.
Right.
And yet she was the most human character I have ever played.
Wow.
Because it didn't matter. It wasn't gender. It wasn't anything. It was human spirit and how it responds, how it makes mistakes, how it's imperfect, and how it grows.
Yeah. I think for me, that was one of the hallmarks of my love for Kira, is how she grew, because she totally, for me, she mimicked so much of my own experience, and going from this very not reactionary, almost reactionary sort of responses. I mean, she was conditioned. I mean, she grew up in this horrible way, right? She grew up fighting, but her thinking was so boxed in and so limited until she got this other exposure and until she learned. And that's exactly how I felt. I feel like that, like you summed it up perfectly. That is a human experience, and speaks to the power of the exposure and knowing different people other than ourselves.
Absolutely. What is it? Is it game theory? There's some kind of mathematical theory that Michelle Faller was talking to me about, and she's an astrophysicist. Let me bow my head for a moment, just with huge respect to a NASA scientist. And she was saying that game theory proves over and over again that diversity gives the best answer. From a diverse group is where you can come up with the best answers for all of us for the future.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what I loved about Deep Space Nine, because some people said, oh, it's too much arguing and too much this. And it's like, yeah, that's the way it's going to be. If we figure it out, there's going to be more conversation. We're not just listening to one person and going, aye. There are going to be a lot of voices in the room, and there needs to be.
It needs to be, yeah.
Absolutely. Sabrina, I know you had a question.
No, I was just sitting here, just listening to no, I can't even talk. No, what I wanted to say was that of all, we have 3 levels of ages here in this show. We have the 2 OGs, and then we have the 2 the 2 Gen
X-Gen,
and then the
Gen Xers,
Gen
Xers. I'm an X-Gen.
So I've come into Star Trek, each franchise, brand new, watching it, and I have to say that when Deep Space Nine started, it started off, and I knew right from the very first episode this was going to be the show. And I swear to God, I already knew, Avery Brooks was there, and so that was it. That was it. I was done. I'm like, well, there's nothing I'm going to say. This is the show. But then you came on, and I'm like, who is this bitch? And who does she think she is going to go up against Avery? I'm like,
Right?
I'm not too sure I'm liking this show at all. And then by the end of that two-parter, I was like, Kira is my girl. Kira is my girl. It was like, oh no. Oh no.
I love that. Yes. I love that.
Immediate. It was just like, oh, she's one of the family. Let's go. That's the sister right there.
It is. That's it.
When you first came on to that set, how are you feeling? Were you comfortable, or were you intimidated, or were you just ready to get to work? And
yeah, I was so determined. I had a baby 3 months before we started filming, and it was not pretty. It was like one of those births, and it was a C-section, and I'd been in labor for a day, and they finally took the baby. So I was it was a tough recovery. And I got the call to audition for this show, and I went, well, first of all, I read it, and I called my manager. I said, this isn't for a woman. I think they've made a mistake. And he said, no, they want a woman. And I was like, I can actually see it in my head right now, where I can see that piece of paper where I started reading when Major Kira came in. And I wanted this so badly. I wanted this so badly. And from the moment I read the script, it was like, this is mine. So I had this determination. And I remember meeting Avery. We met for a reading, but we met on the streets of Paramount. And there was like a bunch of us meeting for the first time. I think Renee was there too before we went into the reading. And I think he looked at me down his nose and kind of went, okay. And I thought, just wait. Just wait. I want to play tennis with you, because I was such a huge fan of his. Oh my God. His Hawk. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh yes. And so it was more, I mean, you can interpret your nerves, your sweaty palms, and the butterflies in your stomach. That can be nerves, because we have that if we watch a horror movie. But we also get it if we're in love, or if our brains are just going, focus on this. This is important to you. And that's what I walked in with. Focus on this. Be here now. This means so much. And David Carson, the director of those 2 episodes, was so generous. I believe, now I could be being egotistical here, and it was my first time on set, so it was the first time anyone was on set, but I think it was the first thing we filmed was that opening scene where Avery comes onto the set of Ops, and I couldn't believe that David said, take all the time you want. He didn't stop me. He said, where do you feel like you would go? That's crazy for a director of TV. Usually it's like, we got to get this. You're going to go here. I've set up the cameras. He didn't set up any cameras. He let me run the scene. He let me feel it out. Wow. We rehearsed it, and it took too long. And I know it was expensive, but he gave me the grace of being able to fit myself in and play, that wonderful creative process.
Oh, wow.
It worked.
It was
the best premiere of Star Trek. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I couldn't believe when I saw it. I could not believe we made that. That's wonderful.
Yeah. It is so good. Yeah. So amazing.
And I would like to say that I think Deep Space Nine, of all the series, have stood the test of time. It has aged better than all of the series. You can you can stream it, you can look at it here, you can look at it there, but it has, and I always defend it saying it's the best acted, the best directed, the best everything is Deep Space Nine. I I just love it's my favorite show. I just love it, and when I first saw you, I'm like, oh well, look at her. I like her. I really like her. Then when you came back with the haircut, I like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the haircut was everything.
You liked it. So many
Oh, loved
people
it.
like it. So many
Oh,
people were like,
was
but I couldn't figure out, even if Kira just stuck her head in something to get that helmet head look, it was like she wouldn't do that. She
No.
would not bother, even if it's a second to put your head in there and it comes out like that. What's the point of that? And someone can pull it and it's like, get rid of my hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
Kira
rid
is
of-
so much.
You're
Kira
always
is so much
thinking.
more practical than that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was my feeling. That was definitely my feeling.
And I tell you, Kira has the one like catsuit look that I so wanted to wear.
My rubber suit, the intendant suit.
Yes.
No, your regular
my
Bajorek
regular
outfit.
one.
You just
Oh, my
look like
goodness.
yes. Whenever we
can't
saw
eat
that
lunch.
outfit, it was like,
can't eat
come on,
lunch.
man. Don't even mess.
Can't eat lunch without it showing. It was like, oh no, I must have eaten a meal. There it is, right there, bud. And there was no way of like moving the belt up and down to hide it. It was like, there it is. That's how I am.
Okay. You're the only one that can wear that suit then.
That's how I looked. I was like, my time for being able to cosplay Kira in that outfit is long gone, baby.
That's totally past.
Long gone.
Never here, never had it.
The first outfit was a lot easier. That's a lot more comfortable. That was a lot more comfortable. The two-piece from the first season.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I could get myself out of that by myself. The other one, it's like,
Right.
I got to find someone if I need to go to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
It actually
Wow.
looked a little bit more comfortable. Like, like the second, like when you got the second outfit, you could see like it was just like
Oh, yeah.
more like tight posture. I'm showing people on Zoom and forgetting that we're actually doing a podcast.
We got you. We
It's
got
the
you.
square shoulder look. That's
Yes.
what you're
Right.
showing. That is exactly right.
the pad.
I was square shouldered into that thing.
And listen, it had the styling undershirt too. I mean, we even like the undershirt. Like
But
when
the
Kira
undershirt
was gonna
was
start
dope.
digging a grave or something, we were ready.
That's true.
Sure.
That's very true. Yep. Although that was a whole other costume. I didn't get to have that undershirt. It was like if I wanted to be offset for a while, if they were doing, changing the cameras, I had a black undershirt underneath and I would just drop the top because it was hot.
Mhm.
That was a hot thing. So then to film, I get it back on.
Secrets.
Yeah.
I think I think that I mean, and I sort of said a little bit of the same thing to Noah the other day. Like, I mean, Kira's character was written so wonderfully. However, I think it's really what you brought to the character that made us fall in love with her so much, because it takes a woman who's known something to play a character like her. Like, you can't come to that as an ingenue and have never experienced loss, never experienced deep love, never experienced heartache. You can't bring that. You can't just create it, snap your fingers and create it. And so you brought all this depth and layers to her that just made her so fascinating for us and so identifiable. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
beautiful words. Thank you. And I think you're right. You do have to feel the whole scope of being human, fun or not fun, to be able to go there.
Yeah. I'm curious to know what you might think of how Kira would be reacting to the situations that's going on in this country today. If you don't want to go into that, that's okay. I can understand how the dynamics in our country. Huh?
The dynamics in our country, I think it's a really interesting question. And I think I'm just putting my Kira head on right now. I think that she would be creatively I mean, I'm assuming that it would be Bajor, her country, going through these issues. And I think that she would be, I can see her going into a retreat to come up with creative ideas for what people need to do. But, here's my thought. What's true for the big picture is true for just us. And as I struggle with all these things that are going on, I see one of the things women struggle with is that we're always told don't say no. And then we're told say yes to every opportunity. and there's a pretty soon we don't have a connection with our own identities. We are so busy fulfilling what other people need or want or demand of us. And I think that leads to this place where no one's listening anymore because no one has a strong boundary. You can't have compassion unless you have a strong boundary. Because you take care of yourself first, and then you give what you can to others. And if more is asked of you, you're going to go down. Everyone's going to go down. And we have to have strong boundaries, be able to say, I do see women as being one of the answers. They seem to be over and over again. And we have to have strong boundaries, understand that when we do say no, there are consequences. It's not necessarily going to make it easy, but we'll hold on to integrity. It seems to me that everyone's acting without integrity, or a lot of people. I won't say everyone, a lot of people. What's your feeling?
Yeah.
What do you think Kira would think? Because, I ask you because this is someone you identified with, so you have a beat on her too.
Yeah. I don't know. I think early Kira might have been less student nonviolent coordinating committee and more Black Panther. And
I think you're right.
Yeah. And I think she might have come to some other realization, more like how Malcolm X and Martin Luther King moved towards some commonality together, recognizing that, hey, the economics is our issue, not so much the race. I think Kira is evolving. I think her understanding would have evolved into a different paradigm, a different working paradigm then. That's my personal, I don't know about anybody else. That's kind of where I'm thinking.
I definitely think that's I think that's definitely the course that we saw Kira evolve in during the whole 7 seasons, is that she was definitely, the Black Panther Party in the beginning, but then, she was maybe more of a politician by time it ended, and more of a politician that kind of was across the aisles. Let's talk. Let's try to get this. Let's work this for the people. That kind of politician. But definitely, I see the same thing you did. That she was definitely not wanting to hear anything that anybody had to say. Let's have action in the beginning. But in the end, she was always willing to go to the table to see how we could make, Bajor better for Bajorans, for the Federation, that kind of thing.
Well, if you're not heard, if you're speaking and you're not heard over and over and over again, then you start making
Screaming.
bigger noises. You start screaming.
That's right.
And this is exactly why I say that myself as a Black woman, why I related so much to Kira, because that was constantly my experience as being devalued, undervalued, overlooked, not heard, ignored. And, people, that's where the angry Black woman trope comes from, when you finally snap and say, look, damn it, I've told you this a million times, or I'm right here. I can't tell you how many times I walk down the street on a crowd and people just try to walk right through me, literally, like they do not see me, like I am invisible. And at some point you do snap from that,
I I've been putting up boundaries for a long time. I worked in a psych hospital, and this doctor, actual MD, called me girl, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute, hold up, and I called him boy back. See, I didn't. I'm not the one that like fades away and people try to make me invisible. That doesn't happen to me. Hasn't happened to me. He said, "Did you just call me boy?" I said, "Did you just call me girl?" You call me girl, I call you boy. He called me Miss Fran from then on. You know, I don't, and when women,
Yeah.
especially women, put up boundaries, people think, oh, you hold a grudge. I'm like, no, I saw what you did. I'm not going to let you do that again. This is exactly, I have clear boundaries.
And if we don't do that, then there's some kind of silent permission we have given.
Oh, yeah.
I just wanted to get that in there. My grandmama told me when I was a little girl, silence gives consent. And I figured it out by the time I was 12 years old. And I've been talking ever since and setting clear boundaries with people.
And Fran, when you do set boundaries and they're not well accepted because people don't like boundaries for the most part, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with what comes back at you?
I say, well, this is what happened. This is how far I'm going to let you go. And I'm not going to let you go this far again. I say, no, I'm not holding a grudge. I saw what you did. You're not going to do that to me again. I'm not going to give you that chance to do it again, you know, and I'm not going to be quiet about it. So I've always, you know, that's been, you know, I had this really strong grandmother, you know, and we used to look at, you know, Star Trek together. She didn't know what she was looking at, but I was like, she had no idea. But I told her, this, you know, the colored lady is coming on tonight. And that was Miss Nichols, you know, because I was 11 years old when I'm an OG. I started TOS in 1966. And I said, Grandmama, the colored lady is coming on tonight. And we're going to look at it. She said, well, yes, we are. She had no idea what she was looking at, but I liked it.
And what did you get from watching this show? What did that mean to you?
From TOS? Well, being I'm from Virginia. I'm so sorry. I'm from Virginia. And I'm sorry.
It's not your fault, girl. Y'all tried. You tried, girl. You tried.
I did. Okay, so what I got was I was 11 years old, and I looked up and I saw this woman on TV who was articulate and pretty and had this thing in her ear, and people were listening to her. The people around her were listening to her. And she wasn't a servant. She wasn't a prostitute. She wasn't demurring to these people. And I thought the world, that was it. I was hooked. It was like, oh my gosh, look, she's on TV. She's not a maid. Look at this. Look at this. And I knew, and whenever we looked at Star Trek, we always centered her. We even centered her when she wasn't on there. But being an 11-year-old Black girl in Virginia in 1966, it was a miracle. I saw something I had never saw before, and I knew that I was going to be a Star Trek fan from then on. I knew it. So that's what I got from it in September of 1966.
Wow. Thank you for telling me.
That's really cool. That's really special. I know. I love that story too. That's so special. And your grandma sounds really wonderful. And I wish grandmamas are deep. Grandmamas are deep. I wish I still had my grandmama with me, but she was a deep Indian woman from North Carolina, and she taught me a lot too. But I was a little hard-headed. I had to learn some of these lessons
over and over.
Like when you're talking about boundaries, it wasn't until I'm in recovery. I'm been sober for a number of years, and it wasn't until I got into recovery that I started to learn what personal boundaries were, because they threatened my sobriety and with people I love, and how to put up boundaries, and then how to really, and what that taught me though was really about how to love myself and how to respect myself. And I think that's the key of what you're talking about there, is that we are not taught, we're always taught to value other people. Women particularly are taught to value others before we value ourselves. I work in retail, and like in clothing retail, and I work at a big box store. And the way that we have to display clothes when you come in the store, it goes men's, children's, then women's. Because we're the main purchasers, but we always buy for others first. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Hmm.
I never thought about that psychology. That's amazing. That's amazing. And there's so much there are a lot of people who say, "Oh, but you give yourself love, that's selfish." No. That's the first step. And then once you know how to do that, then you're ready for community.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
But you can't
Oh,
give
yes.
out what you're gonna have.
That's right.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
preaching to the choir. Is that
Yes.
you can't give out what you don't have?
I think that's one of the things I loved about the character Kira too, because she went through that whole episode of finally forgiving herself for what she had done. And Kira's arc is amazing, and that whole scene where she finally forgives herself for what she had done as a terrorist, and then she can finally let it go, and now she's a good guy now. But it was interesting that they went there with that whole thing, and we saw Kira actually upset about what she had done. She had all this bluster about, yeah, and I did this and we did that and we got all this done. But then, she was like, I did some really terrible things and I have to forgive myself. And I just love that, those episodes where we really get into the character of a person who was in that situation and what they had to do to get out of it and survive.
I agree. And the show that Duet,
Mhm.
that where not only did my character have flaws in this, she was prejudiced,
Mhm.
and she meets her
claiming it.
yeah, and she meets her prejudice right there with this man who had nothing to do with the evil, who hated it himself. And that's such a turning point for her. That show was so big for me to realize where she was. But it's, can you imagine anyone giving, well, now probably, but back then, giving a character a chance to be so flawed as to be prejudiced and then to find her way out of it? That's
DS9.
That's DS9. Gave the viewers a lot of credit.
Yeah.
It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's so refreshing.
Yeah. It never talked down to us, ever.
Never, ever.
Nope.
And Fran, you were mentioning before that it stood the test of time. I mean, I look at Far Beyond the Stars. I had to watch it again a few months ago, and it's like, oh, yep, stood the test.
Yep. And we're still dealing with the same thing.
Still dealing, still rolling it around, trying to figure it out.
You bring up Far Beyond the Stars, which is admittedly one of all of our favorites. It's one of my favorite Trek episodes, literally of all time. It's probably that and The Visitor, number 1 and number 2 for me. But I know that in the documentary, you talked about the intensity of filming that situation, of filming that one particular scene where Avery Brooks is on the floor and falling out. But how is it filming the rest of it for you all? Because I would imagine that it had to cause some friction, because you're internalizing so much, right? Or what?
Yes, but when you are in the scene, when you are doing the character, you have to you have to eliminate the thoughts of judgment of what's going on, and you have to stay right where that character is in their frame of reference. So no, it wasn't uncomfortable because she was completely unaware, full of empathy but unaware that this was a moment for her maybe to do something
Mm-hmm.
other than just watch.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's such an important episode. It gives me chills sometimes just even thinking about that one, and it makes me cry every time I watch it.
Me too.
Everything. Yeah. It's so powerful. But you said something a minute ago that made me think about, what did Kira teach you? Did she teach you anything? Did you gain anything from Kira?
A lot. She made me think about issues that, as an actor, as someone who worked in, the creative world and was, I mean, to a certain extent, you can be in a complete bubble when you're a creative because it takes so much focus. It takes so much of you. And if you even think about having, a family, it's like, it's overwhelming. It's already, you're doing too much. Things are falling off the plate. But she made me go deep and identify how I needed to identify where I stood on everything before I could understand how far it was where Kira was. And once you drop those thoughts, this is the thing. I mean, and it's true for all of us, not just when you're acting. You drop a thought in your head. Like when I spoke of what happened, the atrocities that happened, my body believed those things were going on and true right then. My nervous system reacted. The tears weren't acted, they were real. I've always worked that way, that you drop the thought in and let everything else happen. So one thing I learned is that thoughts create feelings, thoughts create moods, thoughts control us, and we need to control our thoughts. So I learned very much to focus on how I allowed my thoughts to go, when to let go of them, when to hold on to them. Because those 7 years, which by the way, they were like dog years, you know how they say, it was like 49 years of my life. It was long. It was like, we just worked the whole time. It was unbelievable. I don't think anyone does those hours, nor should they do those hours anymore. Mm-hmm. But it taught me to be able to toggle my brain at will, to be able to leave thoughts that were traumatic and bring them when I needed to, and know how to leave them again, because otherwise they overtake you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I need that in my life.
Toggle switch.
That's what I mean.
Switch.
We all do. We all need
Phew.
because it's the thoughts. It's the thoughts, which are supposed to be like clouds, right? They come and they go, but then we lasso them, put them in front of our face, and see the world through that cloud, and that's all we can see. We can't see the big sky.
That's such a beautiful way of describing that.
That is, I will tell you who that is. I put my own spin on it, but it's Tara Brach, who is a wonderful teacher and a writer. And she talks about being in a plane, and when you're in the clouds, you don't realize that you are in this huge sky, this expanse that you are, if you are focusing on just one thought.
Okay, I'm going to have to read her now.
Yep.
I wrote it down.
Yep.
Okay. So, go ahead, Fran.
I'd like to ask this question, and I told y'all I would. When you put the beat down on Damar, Casey Biggs, and you put the beat down on Damar, right? And I read an interview with him in one of the sci-fi, one of the Star Trek things, that he didn't like that very much. Him as Casey didn't think it made sense. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading this and I'm like, well, why wouldn't it? I mean, she's a strong woman.
And she's trained.
She did what she was supposed to do. She was like a mother fighting for her child. A mother would almost just beat you down if they could.
That's
And
right.
he said it didn't make sense, and I'm like, I don't see why not, because I would do the same thing if I was in her place. Put the beat down on you too, And she
Absolutely.
won. And he went on and he looked like he had been kicked in the face by a mule. And I thought it was
No, I remember him not liking that, not thinking it was realistic. But it may not have been realistic, but it was truthful.
Yep.
Right.
I thought
He
it was
loved it.
realistic.
Yeah. Believe me,
Yeah,
I've
I
seen.
just
no
didn't-
problem with it.
Yeah,
That he just didn't know enough sisters in his life. That's all
No.
that is.
That's all. That's all. Because it was
That's
definitely
all
that
it
was
is.
very realistic, especially if you train.
Right.
She
Right.
knew where, she knew where to hit you.
That's right.
That's it.
That's
Wow.
I don't
right.
care how big you are.
No, really, we don't care. Kira didn't care. Kira didn't care.
No. Not at all.
I have a couple of questions, but the one I really wanted to ask was we going back to Far Beyond the Stars, but not exactly. One of the things I loved about your performance in Deep Space Nine was when you were playing non-Kira roles, and you were playing like a version of Kira, either in the Hollow Suite. So, Natasha the Spy, one of my favorites.
Awesome. Love her.
Oh my God!
Oh
You have such a
my God. Oh my God. Was she Commander? I think she was Commander Kamaninoff. I mean, I didn't get the name for a long time. I didn't, but of course it was a takeoff of Bond, so she would
Yes.
have some filthy name. So it was, yeah, Kamaninoff.
Yes.
All I could think of was like Boris Badenoff and Natasha, and
Natasha.
it was Kira. And I loved it. I loved you in, Bada Bing, Bada Boom, whatever that one.
Oh, yeah.
And you were playing like the mall, in the casino, and I loved you when you did the Peggy Lee Fever. Now stop, everybody stop.
I
You
begged
stopped.
for
You
that.
stopped.
I begged for that.
I
I
have
begged
rolled
for
that back.
voice. I begged for that song, not that voice, for that song, because I think they wanted me to sing something, The Way You Look Tonight. It was something very soft and romantic. It was like, no,
No.
no,
not
it's
Kira.
got to be hot.
Oh,
It's
yes.
got to be, and they said, oh, I said, how about Fever? And they said, okay. Ira Stephen Bear went, all right, we'll get it. And they did.
Perfect.
It was so awesome. And you were so steamy. I mean, it was just like, wow.
Oh,
I was
the
like,
dress.
I feel like I really shouldn't be watching this moment. It seems kind of really personal.
Wait,
Am I supposed to be here?
Definitely.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Seems like a private moment.
I want to talk about what's coming up in the future because you're doing this project. You're doing this book, A Woman's Trek, right? Is that the title of it?
That's right.
And I can't wait to read it. I hope it's a documentary too.
That's what we are working on. And I think it began as a very different, the publisher approached me and it was kind of a different, easy, book. And it became something more as we started to get these interviews and film all these interviews. And it's just, it's fascinating. And the people that are in front of the cameras and behind the cameras on Star Trek are fascinating. But oh my God, the people who watched, who were affected, who speak of it like Fran and what that meant and what that shifted for them in their lives, in their heart. Talking to these scientists from NASA, and I'm going to be speaking to astronauts. And I spoke to Stacey Abrams.
Hey!
Oh my God. Now I have to tell you, I am the worst. I almost did it for this meeting too.
Mhm.
I thought, okay, so they filmed this at 5:30. That means I'll be ready at 8:30 at night because it's California. And it took my husband saying, no, you're doing that wrong again. And you have to. So thank God for him, because I would not have been I would have been waiting for you promptly at 8:30. this time it wasn't actually my fault because you wonderfully said Eastern Standard Time. But Stacy's publisher, Leader Abrams' publisher, she said I could call her Stacy, so I just did. Let's say it right. Leader Abrams' publicist said, at 1:30. So I thought 1:30. I just assumed LA time. Mm-hmm. It wasn't. I was doing something else, and I get a text saying, Leader Abrams is on the phone for you. And I'm like, oh my God, I had planned to do all this fancy filming, and it was just like, just get on the phone. And she was so beautiful. She said, I'm sorry. Do you want to do this later? It's like, no. Even if I am flustered and out of my mind, I'm not going to take a minute more of your time. Can you imagine? I just want to film of Leader Abrams sitting there waiting for me, waiting for me to show up. Oh my God, I was horrified. I was so horrified.
We would have waited.
Right, we would have waited because we've been here a while waiting.
We would have been just sitting here for 3 hours. Like I would just wait till she comes on. I don't care.
It horrifies me when I do it. And I do it all the time. I
just wanted to point out that he said the reason why I make sure I put Eastern Standard Time because our first guest was Ciroc Lofton, and I did not do that for him. And that was a mess. He was like, I thought you said, I'm like, Ciroc, you know I live in New York. What is wrong with you? You live in New York. He goes, you got to put it. And I was like, from now on, no matter what, I put Eastern Standard Time. So you can thank Ciroc for that one.
And I still almost messed it up.
We got it together, so it's all good.
It's all good. Thank goodness.
Yeah. So when can we look for the book? And will you give us a little bit of like why you wanted to do the book?
Well, what we're looking at is
the project.
55 years of Star Trek. And you think of these women, it's the women that we're looking at. And you think of the times they lived in, these actors, the people who work behind the scenes, the writers, and what they were dealing with. And they were giving so much hope. Nichelle Nichols was giving hope to an 11-year-old Fran. Mm-hmm. And yet, what was she living through as an actor in those times? Mm. And the cultural effect of women and what the truth for these women is what we're investigating. And I have to say, the process is shifting me and making me aware of so much. I read a young woman's book. Her name is Jess Zimmerman, and the book is called Women and Other Monsters. And it looks at mythology and women and how we need a new mythology, where if a woman is too much, has extra limbs and, is too tall, too big, all these monsters, Medusa, right. It's always women being more than what we are supposed to sit down and be quiet and be good at, what culture tells us. So, she says her thing is, embrace being a monster and enjoy it and use it. But she said something. I want to hear what you have to say about this, that the quote is, women are often on a diet of the body, but always on a diet of the heart. Meaning that we have to, yes, we diet, we try to get smaller, we try to fit in where we're supposed to fit in. That goes up and down, but we are always managing expectations, managing what we think we can have. Does that make sense to you? Does that resonate or not? Tell me the truth. I'm interested.
Thinking about it.
I don't know.
I've kind of given up on that.
But what does that mean? What does that mean that you've given up?
Well, diet of the heart. I'm single. I'm happily single. Yeah.
I don't mean love.
No, I don't think she.
I don't mean love.
What do you mean?
I don't mean love. I mean expectation for yourself, what you can have and what you can be and what you're allowed to be.
Oh, well, I can answer that.
Go ahead.
I think that I'm 2 years younger than Fran, so I was 9 when the show came on, and we've been told a whole different story from what Tamir and Yvette was told, and then definitely what JD was told. You could do or you could have. So for me, for example, when I was young, I wanted to be so many things that at the time, you were just told, no, that's not going to happen. You're not going to be in films. You're not going to be a screenwriter. You're not, you got to just get a nice little job and be an accountant. And I don't know what you think you're doing. And now at this age, I'm realizing, like Fran is saying, like what you just said, I'm done with that. I'm expecting I can do whatever I want to do, even at this age, even at 65, that it's not too late to start it. And because I have broke through that, you can't do anything more to me. You really just can't. I've gone through corporate. I've gone for the stuff and found out that it was just not what I wanted. I've been married. I've been divorced. It's just like, what else you got? Come on with it. So it's all about, what I want now. And like we were talking about being selfish earlier, but, it's sort of like a self-discovery that freed of all of these expectations of what my husband would have wanted, what my boss would have wanted, what my family wanted me to do, even what my girlfriends wanted me to do. Oh, you're so extra. You're so special. I'm like, but yes, indeed I am. But it's just, you give it up and you find your tribe that is like you. And here we are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've always, I don't know. I've always been I like being alone, but when I am out with other people, I'm okay with that, but I've always been okay with doing tons of stuff. I've never been told no, that I couldn't do it. I probably have been, but I probably didn't pay attention because I had people like my aunt is a general in the Army. I know my family history. So when you have that, when you have people telling you, this is what we do, this is how it is, sometimes you feel like, oh, am I really doing enough? Can I live up to the expectations,
So was that aunt? Oh, so that's a whole other dynamic. Right. Yeah. Right. Oh, God. So was that aunt, did you have a woman mentor?
Yeah, my whole family, they're mostly women. But we have a lot of men. It's funny. We always say the women are the ones in their family that, they're strong. Everyone knows what they did. The men, we know them, but they always seem like they're like secondary. We love them. We love them all. But
can't wait to see your Thanksgiving event.
Right. Well, it seems like, the women, they're like, oh, remember auntie this and auntie that? Remember when cousin this did? But it's always the women that we talk about. And it doesn't mean that there aren't any men around, because we have a lot of strong men in our family, but they're very supportive, extremely supportive. Even if they're not, they don't commit, but they're very supportive. So,
wow.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why I've always been okay with trying new things. I get scared trying new things, but I will try them because I was always told that I could. And I do the same thing for my daughters, they try all kinds of stuff that I'm like, wow, you tried that? Wow, you did that?
So that really tells me if we don't listen to the culture, and in our family, we encourage and mentor, not just have families, but mentor within, that can just make all the difference.
I think it does. Because I know all kinds of stuff were going on outside my house. I lived in the projects when I was growing up, but that had nothing to do with the way I was being raised. I had to deal with the nonsense outside, but I ran to the library, so I was good. I was like, I'm going to the library, I'll be fine.
It's always an answer. It's always.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
I have to say, for me personally, as I have told many of friends, I have the confidence of a young white guy who's very wealthy. I do not believe in limits. I can only fail upward. It's a superpower at this point. Like the concept of just like managing expectations. It's all like, no, I'm gonna have an idea. I'm gonna coerce some people to go along with it, and we'll see where it takes us. That's always fun. Yeah. Like at the moment, I'm in this podcast. I'm trying to work out an audio drama with another friend. I'm trying to work out a food podcast with, just friends. Working on a business. Like, I don't know. If I have an idea, I'm going to run with it.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. And Sabrina, I'm your age. So it's that is what the expectations around me certainly put me into a very particular shape, one that I might not have taken for myself. So to hear JD say, oh no, I'm going to try, I'm going to fail, I'm going to try again. That's some kind of progress.
Right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
A lot of my young daughter is the same. I think the younger ones, they don't see any type of limits. They're going to push forward, which is just great.
Which makes everything we went through worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
Hear them say, they're just going to do this. And I love their fearlessness.
I love it. I just love it.
Because we were so, I remember my father. Now he's another generation older, and he's from Virginia. This is a man. He was so afraid for me with my crazy stuff that I wanted to do, and he just let me go. I can just see this black man from Virginia. Loving. You're gonna go drive where in a car by yourself, and you're going with all these white kids where? And I was just lottie-diving along, and he was terrified for me, but he let me go. And we listen to it now today, and it's just like you hear these kids say things and you're like,
yeah, but that's their reality.
What a loving thing for him to do.
Absolutely.
Because it's so easy for a parent to be fearful and go, no, be safe. Be here,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna teach you how to do a few cure moves.
Yeah.
Right.
I was ready to deal, but be ready to protect yourself. All right, now. But I have one last question. I want to go back to Kieran. I just wanted to ask this question. One of the things I love, we were talking about monsters and new monsters. One of the monsters that we love so much from Deep Space Nine, Kai Wynn. What was it like working with Louise Fletcher, who I love?
Oh my gosh. I think she looks so sweet, and there's such evil coming from her. It's unbelievable when she is doing Kai Wynn, when she is doing, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, everything that she's done. She's so I would have to build myself up to come up against her because it's so powerful. And yet off the set, she's as sweet as she looks.
Oh.
She's so sweet. And she would easily laugh, and I could easily break her up, which was a very naughty thing I loved to do. And then she couldn't stop. And she had this sweetest tinkling laugh, which didn't make any sense with who she was on camera. Right. It was like two totally different things. She's an amazing actor and a really kind woman, really kind.
Oh. She did a Perry Mason, and I saw her. I'm like, oh, that's Louise Fletcher.
Yeah.
And because I'm a Perry Mason freak, and she was and of course she's the one that she was the not the victim, she was the person that supposedly did the murder, but she was
course.
So I couldn't believe she did this. I'm like, but that's Kai Wynn. Yeah, she did it. No, we knew
she didn't. That's how we get typecast. Oh no, that's Kai Wynn.
I know. She did it. It It was her.
Like, it was kind of you're Kira Nerys. No, you're not going to do any other roles. You're Kira. Damn it. Like, actually, I can do some more. Thanks.
Right.
But before we go, I know time is getting really short. I wanted to ask you about this Instagram thing you've got going with the.
Oh, yes, thank you. It's nothing really to do with Star Trek at all. It started during the pandemic when I saw young people having such anxiety, and I felt this overwhelming need to connect and tell them some information I had about anxiety, about how our brains and bodies work, and how to modulate some of it, because we can. And my agent said, "You're doing what?" And I said, "I'm going to be Mama Nana, and I'm just going to talk to people about being human." And she said, "Oh God, don't do it. Don't do it. You get chewed up on," and it's true. Stuff happens on social media. We all know it, but this is yet another reason to practice good boundaries and good integrity. And it's been really a wonderful experience to just see people, tell them, go read this book, and they read it and they go, got it, that's wonderful, that helped. Or to see people just get a concept and realize, oh, I'm the one who has to take accountability for my body and brain.
Yep.
It's not about who did what to me. Now it's up to me. Now let's get this under control so that I can do what I want in life. And I think that's the answer. And then go out and be in the community, but bring your best that you can afford, as Fran said. Don't do something that you don't have.
That's right.
That's what that's all about.
Oh, I can't wait to look. I had no idea that you were doing that. And so now I'm like, oh, I can't wait to start watching this, to see this.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the fact that one of the reasons that I respect you so much is always because of your generosity of spirit with the fans in the community. How you've never put yourself up as an actress who's on some other pedestal level that is not also a human being, and that you see yourself as part of the human family, and that's portrayed, and you have a lot of respect for the fans, and that really comes through, and we just love you to pieces, and we will forever love you, girl.
Yes.
Forever.
Ever. So much.
Forever.
Some of us will see you on the cruise.
We will have a blast. Promise. It will be fun. Good. That's not too far away now.
Nope.
Good.
No, it's around the corner.
And I hope to meet all of you in person at some point. And I'm sure we will.
I hope you come back when the book comes out. I hope you come back.
Love to.
Yeah, we would love to make sure that everyone knows everything about it. Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we can't wait. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you. It's just I'm so tickled, and I'm so pink, and my little brown cheeks are pink because I'm blushing because I'm really excited. And it's been wonderful. Thank you. And Yvette, you want to let people know how they can get in touch with us and let us know thoughts about this show or any other show?
Okay. You can find us at sci-fisistas.com. That's SYFYSISTAS.com. Join us on the mothership. That's MUTHASHIP. And the Sci-Fi Sisters Book Club, both on Facebook. Download the Trek Geeks Network app, where you can find us and our family of podcasts on the Trek Geeks Network. On Instagram, sci-fi.sisters. And we are also on the Twitter at Sci-Fi Sisters. After listening to this podcast, please rate us and write a review. We may just read it on an upcoming episode.
Hey, y'all. Are you looking for that perfect holiday or birthday gift for that special geek in your life? Why not check out the world's first app-enabled Tribble from Jay and Kaylia at Science Division. These soft and cuddly fuzz buckets actually trill for friends and squeal at Klingons. Adopt your Tribble today at Science Division. That's sciencediv.com. Science Division. By fans, for fans. Trouble's never been this fun.
And Mama Nana, where can people find you on Instagram?
At Visitor Nana.
Thank you.
That's
And
where I live. Thank you, ladies. This is
you guys got that?
Pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean,
So thankful.
thank you for gracing our space.
Yes.
We're so delighted.
Mhm.
And thanks everybody for listening. And we're out of here. Peace, love, and hair grease, y'all.